Peace. This is Wise Words Media back at y'all for another round. And fight fans, a huge upset went down this past weekend in Brooklyn at Barclays Center as British fighter Dalton Smith came across the pond to the United States to beat Puerto Rico's own Matias, who was the junior welterweight champion for the WBC at 140. And Matias, the fight started in typical Matias fashion. Matias is known to start very slow. He gives up the first 2 or 3 rounds, gives them up, where he barely throws punches. You'll see him throw like a jab or so, but he's mainly shelling up in those fights. And in his shell up, he's waiting for his opponent to throw X amount of punches and burn themselves out. And then you start seeing him pick up activity around the 3rd, 4th round. That's usually what Subriel does. And he's also processing, downloading information, but he's not throwing many punches in the interim. He's just sitting there shelling up, taking punches. And that style, combined with the fact that he takes a lot of punches once he starts letting his hands go. Once he starts letting his hands go, he takes a lot of punches too. So that style is not very sustainable, and I think the only people that get away with it is Mexican fighters, to be honest. Mexican fighters, they just can't knock them out. But they, that style's not very sustainable. So Matias starts picking it up around the 3rd, 4th round. He starts picking it up and he starts putting pressure on Smith and starts walking him down. He's, now he's got Smith fighting on his back foot, but Smith kept tying up a lot. He kept interrupting Matias' rhythm by every time Matias would try to start throwing something, he'll go in and hug him. He'll hug him and clinch and clinch and clinch. He just kept clinching. Every time Matias was trying to get some kind of offensive rhythm going, and it just led to, Smith being able to take at least a second or two to get a breath, and also stop Matias from his offensive onslaught. But Matias started to crack. He started to tee off, started to get him, but then, yet again, as mentioned, that style where Matias just likes to tee off and exchange punches is not very sustainable. And he got caught with a clean right hand by Smith that wobbled him. He was wobbled badly. And I thought the stoppage was a little premature. That was a little premature, the stoppage, because they really didn't let him get, even though he was, you know what, on second thought, I'm not even going to say that, because Matias was very wobbly. He was very wobbly when he got up, and he got up late. He got up at 8 or 9. He got up at 8 or 9 and was just very wobbly. But, as the champion, I thought he would be able to, I thought the ref was going to be able to let him go on a shield, to let him throw punches, because, a guy like that, you got to think back to the fight with Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo, where Corrales was damn near done in that fight, and all of a sudden the ref could have stopped it, but he let him go, and then Diego catches Castillo with a clean punch that turned the whole fight around, and ultimately Diego Corrales wins the fight. But I thought they would give him that opportunity to try to get, being that he's a big puncher, that he would try to get at least one chance, one opportunity to try to even things up or try to steal the fight. But the referee, who had the best seat in the fight, he saw things differently. He saw how Matias got up late and wobbly and decided not to continue. So that fight, you know, it could have. I was thinking that Matias was gonna win this fight, but I started watching a little bit of Smith's highlights, and it seemed like he's a volume puncher. He's a volume puncher, and he looked like he's well conditioned. And I was like, well, you know, Matias better go for the kill early when he goes against this guy Smith, because Smith looked like, you know, he has good movement, and he's undefeated, so you have to respect that too. And he also possesses, you know, good solid fundamentals. So I'm like, this is kind of what gave him problems with Paro, like stuff like that. So I'm like, he's gonna have to go for the kill very early. He's gonna have to take him to deep waters early, get his offense started earlier than usual, but it didn't happen that way. And congratulations to Dalton Smith, who is now the WBC junior welterweight champion in his division. It's a very stacked division, the 140-pound division. We have champions like Richardson Hitchens at 140. We have also a blockbuster fight that's gonna happen at the end of this month, which is going to be Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. They also campaign at 140. So 140 is a pretty deep division. It's a pretty deep division. It's packed with a lot of, you know, a lot of talent. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what's going to be Smith's next move, who he decides to take on. Unification fight with Hitchens now looks very good. He could take on the winner of Shakur versus Teofimo to see, you know, to go on to unify with that. So yeah, it should be a very interesting 2026, and Dalton Smith is now adding to that. But that's all I got for now. Watch for Wise Words Media. Peace.